Hello, everyone. Did anyone else have their entire day slip by accidentally in a book again? Dwayne, I can explain. I'm really sorry. Okay, it's not my fault. It was totally the book. Completely not my fault. Hello, everyone. I'm Anne. This is Anne's Book Reviews. Today we are going to be doing, I'm so sorry, Dwayne. Yes, I finished it. Don't be mad at me. We shouldn't have books in the house if you don't want me to read them. Terry Goodkind's The Wizard's First Rule. As you can tell, I have loved this book a lot. This is definitely not my first read through. I first came across Terry Goodkind when I was probably in my teen years. It is a thick one, and this is number one. It is a series. Terry Goodkind, unfortunately, the brilliant and controversial author that he is, passed away last year, I believe last September. Rest in peace, you beloved story writer of mine. Even with his controversial, I guess, opinions, I still am a huge, huge fan of his books. He is arguably my favorite sci-fi author or fantasy author. He might even top Harry Potter. I think he tops Harry Potter because I would continue to read his series, and I think that I've read Harry Potter so many times I'm not sure that I could read it again because I have the first couple pages word for word memorized of Harry Potter. And if anyone would like to see that trick sometime, let me know. Babysitting. Anyways, okay, so Terry Goodkind, he is wonderful. The Wizard's First Rule is the first book of his series. It was written in 1994, and at least it's the copyright for this guy. It is, so let's just jump to it and hear what it's about. All right. In the aftermath of the brutal murder of his father, a mysterious woman, Kaylin Annell, appears in Richard Cypher's forest sanctuary seeking help and more. His world, his very beliefs, are shattered when ancient debts come due with thundering violence. In their darkest hour, hunted relentlessly, tormented by treachery and loss, Kaylin calls upon Richard to reach beyond his sword, to invoke within himself something more noble. Neither knows that the rules of battle have just changed, or that their time has run out. This is the beginning. One book, one rule. Witness the birth of a legend. Okay. So, I'm going to try not to go forever in this book. First, before I get to that, okay, let's go to the lusty meter and the trigger warning real quick. Lusty meter, I gave it a 4. There are a couple of intimate moments where they definitely talk about sex. I would not call it like, in my romance novel section, I would not count, I do not read this for the intimacy in it. It is a love, there is love components, there is a definitely love happening in the book, but I would not read this for any kind of intimacy in that in any way, shape, or form. So, and that's where we're going to lead to the trigger warnings, because there are a lot. So let's start with, there is a lot of rape. There is bondage, there is torture, gore, there is child abuse that is in there, gore and violence. Let's see, yeah, a lot of violence and a lot of gore. There's war happening, things are going on, and he does a great job of describing it, unfortunately, you know. And I think that's all the trigger warnings. So yes, please be aware, it's in there. If it's not your cup of tea, heads up, it's in there. Now let's talk about it. So like I said, this is one of my very favorite fantasy novels. Why I like it, I think that Mr. Goodkind is an amazing author. There is something called stone soup in here that every time I read it, I'm like, I need soup. I need this soup in my life. And I think that the closest that I come to it in my head is some weird version of the hot and sour soup at a Chinese restaurant. Like, I'm like, oh, well, this has got to be kind of close, maybe. I don't know. But I need soup in my life. He describes things very well. And I'm involved in the characters. There hits a certain point in the book where I just, like I said, again, Dwayne, I'm so sorry. When you asked this afternoon what I did for my day, this is it. I did this. I love you so much. Thank you for being my partner. So I cannot put it down. I just couldn't. He does a great job of describing different characters and different creatures. I love the creatures that he makes in this story. One of my biggest issues with fantasy especially is the proper nouns. I have yet to make it very far in Dune because of all the proper nouns. I'm like, proper noun dump. The good news is that a lot of the characters, and I mean, Kaylin or Colin, I've heard it said so many different times. So other than her name, which hopefully no one rips my face off, like, you're pronouncing it wrong. I'm like, sorry, that's how I pronounced it. Hopefully, other than that, there's a lot of basic names like Richard and Zed and Chase. And so it makes it where when he does have proper nouns for his mountain ranges or something like that, it really stands stark. And I really can keep that separated. Whereas sometimes when I read a fantasy novel, there's just so many like weird names like that are compiled together at the same time. I'm like, wait, is that a town or is that somebody's name? Like, I just forget, you know? So that's my particular critique on fantasy, which I'm not an author at all. This is just a book nerd's point of view. But so some of the times I like how he's really like detail oriented in his creature creations, but they're very, very vivid. I love the Gars. I love Shar, the Night Wisp. I love the different cultures of people that he creates, and you immerse in them, and then you go to another town and village and it's very different. It's so cool. He did an amazing job, I think, creating this world, because I feel like I step into it, and I think he did a wonderful job. The story is captivating. I will say, give it about 6 chapters to get into it. It is not one that you're going to open the book and within a couple pages you're like, oh my god, I'm engrossed. It takes a little bit to get in. It takes a little bit to get invested and to buy in. But the second time you read it, you'll be invested from the get-go. But the first time you read it, give it to like chapter 6 or 7. If you don't like it after that, you know, let me know and you can come back on here and tell me that you hated it. But I really would stick it out because they have some really, really fun, fascinating creatures, and the story is just really engaging. I think it is, as I said, it's one of my favorites so far, and I just think he did a very good job of creating that storyline. I'm still reeling from finishing it. I'm even hesitating to start the next book because I want to give it some space to breathe and to enjoy what happened, you know. My partner, when he read it, I did convince him to read it. It took him a while. But at the end, he said he did not like the big reveal. He saw it coming. I didn't. I was like, what? Oh my gosh, no. He said he could see it coming, but he might just be lying because it's my favorite. So there is enough going on to keep you busy and compelled. So yes, as I said, it's one of my very, very favorite books. It is a huge series, so it's a huge time commitment. I mean, I think that, I can't remember how many there are total. I still haven't read the full series, so I have read to, when I was in high school, in early college, I think that I maybe read to like 8, maybe. And so there have been more afterwards that I have in my library, but I haven't read yet, and they will be coming soon. I think actually, if I can remember correctly, I believe number 4 was my favorite. So if you have time, energy, if you're looking for a new good book series to try, Terry Goodkind's Wizard's First Rule. Do not watch the video series. I tried it. They made it into a miniseries. It's atrocious. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. And I threw something at the TV because they did not do justice to Mr. Goodkind's amazing world that he created. And I was offended on his behalf. So, should you buy it? Yes. Please. It's amazing. Where to buy it? Thrift Books. You can get it for $4.69. Don't forget to spend $10. You get free shipping, at least in the United States. And then you get, more points. Or you can get enough points built up that you can get it for free. It's $4.69. So, I mean, this could be one of the free books that you get. You could get it for free from Thrift Books if you have enough points built up. And then it wouldn't cost you anything, right? Awesome. Let's see. Amazon, it's $30.99. Is that the hardback? Yeah. And then the paperback is $18.99. And Barnes & Noble, I found it for $9.99. Also, don't forget, I keep forgetting to mention, Internet Archive. It's an online library and you can borrow a book. I think that you now have to borrow it again every hour, which is kind of a pain. especially for one like this. But if you'd like reading online, give that resource a try. And you might be able to sign in and borrow it. I think it's like you can borrow it up to like 14 hours. So you can do that online and read it there if you'd like. So yes, 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 Terry Goodkind is a beloved favorite of mine. It's amazing. And it was life-changing for me as a teenager. Now it probably wouldn't change any like my perspective, but I loved the philosophy that he put into it. So yes, I love it. Please comment below if you liked it, if you hated it. Like the channel if you want. You don't have to, but thank you if you do. And read Terry Goodkind. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Please don't rip my head off apart if you pronounce it Colin instead of Kaylin, or however it is that you pronounce it. All right, have a great night, everyone. And I will try not to spend my evening reading a book.